The little milk baby just casually said she would never marry anyone for a lifetime. And her dad actually dragged her mom to sneak off to the Civil Affairs Bureau overnight to get a divorce. The two even agreed that neither would take custody of her, but the little milk baby knew her parents really didn't want her. So she ran to the supermarket opened by her scumbag dad and wildly looted it, not only clearing out all the rice, flour, oil, groceries, snacks, and appliances, daily necessities, but she didn't even spare the shelves and shopping carts. Upon learning the supermarket was robbed, the scumbag dad instantly flew into a rage, wanting to call the police, but then discovered not even the surveillance cameras were left. The reason the little milk baby did all this was because she had been reborn back to 6 days before the apocalypse broke out, and had awakened an infinitely expandable space in her previous life. After the apocalypse erupted, her dear father not only beat and cursed her every day, but also tricked her into luring away zombies to buy escape time for himself and his little lover, and her dear mother, watching her own daughter get drained of blood, pretended not to know her in this life. She would make all these people pay the price they deserved. At this moment, Yao Yao, after walking out of the supermarket, reached out and hailed a taxi, got into the back seat, and gave the address of an upscale villa district. The driver was a middle-aged uncle. Seeing that only Yao Yao had gotten in the car, a glint of calculation flashed in his eyes. Then he drove the car directly towards his own home, and this gaze happened to be caught by Yao, who was sitting in the back seat, her lips slowly curling upward. "Uncle, did you take the wrong road? Where are you taking me?" "To Uncle's house. I just called your dad. He said he'll come pick you up later." "Oh, is that so? Then Uncle, do you have toys at your house?" "Yes." Looking at Yao Yao's innocent and lovely smiling face, the driver secretly laughed to himself. Children are indeed so easy to fool. Soon, the car arrived at an old, rundown residential area. As soon as they entered the room, Yao Yao made an excuse about being tired and asked the driver to carry her. But in the blink of an eye, she somehow pulled out a fruit knife, pointed it at the driver's throat, not only forcing him to hand over his phone, bank cards, and passwords, but also making him tie himself to the water pipe in the bathroom. The driver, with a smelly rag stuffed in his mouth, now wished he could beat himself to death. "Who said children are easy to fool? Step forward, and I promise not to kill him." Yao Yao leaned against the door frame, wiggling her little finger. "If you do bad things, you must be punished. Stay here quietly. If you're lucky, you'll starve to death directly. If you're unlucky, in a few days you'll be bitten, and then you'll be completely free. Aren't you looking forward to it?" The driver was left thinking for a long time. I still haven't quite figured out what she meant by those words. Then, with a clunk, the toilet door closed. Yao Yao came to the living room and sat on the sofa. She took out the driver's phone and opened the food delivery app on it. She had often seen the family's nanny ordering takeout before, so she had long since learned how. She found several shops specializing in children's nutritional meals and ordered 3 portions of every set meal available, which added up to a total of 1,500 portions. Then she ordered 100 family buckets, 100 roast ducks, 100 steaks, and various Sichuan dishes, 5 portions of each. She also picked some breakfast places, like those selling steamed buns, mantu, fried dough sticks, soy milk, and the like. With at least 100 portions of each, she originally wanted to buy more, but the screen shows the balance is insufficient. This driver has all the money combined, which is only around $100,000 or so, while waiting for something. During this time, Yao Yao leisurely scanned the entire room. Then a slight smile lifted the corners of her lips. The TV was taken, the coffee table was taken, the wardrobe was taken in less than half an hour. Apart from some smelly socks, smelly clothes, and the sofa, everything else was completely ransacked. By Yao, she had just sat down to raise tea for a moment when the door was knocked on. 2 hours later, Yao put the last sofa into her space, then finally stepped out leisurely with her short legs and closed the door as she left. Standing by the roadside, she hailed another taxi. This time, there was no mishap and she smoothly returned home. As soon as she entered, she saw the nanny Zhang Fen holding a phone, lounging leisurely on the sofa due to the scumbag dad and scumbag mom being absent from home for long periods, and also neglecting Yao Yao, not caring or asking about her. It consequently made the nanny's attitude extremely arrogant. Sometimes she wouldn't even cook meals, just giving young Yao Yao instant noodles to eat, and the nanny treated this villa as her own home, sleeping until whenever she wanted to get up. And after getting up, she would just lounge on the sofa, playing with her phone and mahjong. Sometimes, if you disturbed or annoyed her, she would even scold and punish her angrily. She was just very clever, never leaving any evidence. At this moment, Zhang Fen saw Yao Yao and sprang up from the sofa in an instant, walked over in a couple of steps and grabbed Yao Yao's ear. "You damn kid, where did you run off to last night? Ouch. It hurts. Please stop hitting me. I won't dare to do it again," Yao Yao cried, and shouted as if she had been severely beaten. Seeing this, Zhang Fen couldn't help but frown. She clearly hadn't used much force. And in the past when she treated Yao like this, Yao wouldn't make a sound, right? What's going on now? She gave Yao a strange look. Just then the doorbell suddenly rang. Zhang Fen walked over and opened the door, instantly stunned. Standing at the door were actually 3 police officers. Zhang Fen said blankly, "Officers, who are you looking for?" "Hello, we received. Upon reporting a case, there is someone abusing a child here." Zhang Fen was stunned. Suddenly she thought of something, turned her head to look at Yao, just seeing Yao, who was perfectly fine just moments ago, now with her round eyes brimming with tears, looking utterly pitiful. One of the police women, her maternal instincts surging, quickly walked over, took a tissue and wiped her tears. "Don't cry, little one, tell Auntie who bullied you. Auntie will take them away." Upon hearing this, Yao suddenly burst into loud sobs, stretched out her little finger, pointed at Zhang Fen, and said, "Auntie officer, she hit me, it hurts." Woo! Zhang Fen immediately panicked, hurriedly denying it. "Officer, I never hit her. She's just making it up." "How can you believe a child's words? Haven't you heard kids say the darndest things? Fess up honestly. Or did you not abuse her?" "I really didn't," Zhang Fen said. As soon as she finished speaking, Yao pitifully held out the back of her hand to the police woman. There was a black bruise on it. She got that herself when she was careless while taking down a light from the wall at the supermarket. Seeing this, the police woman instantly flared up and said, "So it wasn't you? Look at how badly you've beaten the child, such a cute little girl. How could you bring yourself to do it?" "No, it really wasn't me." Zhang Fen felt wronged but couldn't express it. Her eyebrows almost knotted into a deadlock. "What's this?" Suddenly, another police woman bent down and picked up a small silver object from the floor. "Why does this look so much like a voice recorder? Quick, listen to what's inside." Not long after, Yao's aggrieved voice crying out in pain came through from it. Seeing this, Zhang Fen panicked and waved her hands. "No. Listen to my explanation. I really save your words for the police station." The righteous police woman immediately restrained Zhang Fen. "Little girl, where are your parents?" As soon as the police woman finished asking, her scumbag dad, Yun Xiaokai, walked in from outside. He seemed very anxious, but when he saw the officers inside the room, he abruptly stopped. "What's going on here? Why have the police suddenly come to the house?" Yun Xiaokai asked. The policewoman said, "Your daughter has been abused by this nanny. We are here to arrest someone based on a report." Upon hearing this, Yun Xiaokai slightly raised his eyebrows, then hurry up and take her away throughout. He didn't show any concern for Yao. The policewoman frowned and looked at Yao with doubt, pointing at Yun Xiaokai and saying, "Little one, is this your father?" Seeing Yao nod, she then felt relieved. Yao looked sweetly at the policewoman. "Auntie, can you give me your phone number?" The policewoman didn't think much, wrote her number on a piece of paper and handed it to her. "If there's anything, call Auntie." After the police took Zhang Fen away, Yun Xiaokai immediately walked up to Yao with a grim face, questioning, "Were you in my supermarket last night?" Yao's slightly lowered eyes revealed a trace of coldness. This was her good father. Knowing she had been abused, he not only didn't show any care, but also only cared about his supermarket as soon as he arrived. But this was just as well. Then she no longer had any reservations. She raised her head, squinted her eyes and smiled sweetly. "Yes, Daddy, Yao missed you and thought you were there, but accidentally fell asleep in the bathroom." Yun Xiaokai frowned. "Then, did you hear any noise last night? Or see anyone?" The police have checked the nearby surveillance. Besides seeing Yao come out, he didn't see anyone else, so he rushed home eagerly. Yao just... He shook his head with a serious face. Yun Xiaokai furrowed his brow. He was really overthinking things. How could he expect to get any clues from a 5-year-old child? She should go look for the car that was parked near the supermarket last night instead, and see if she could find any useful clues from the dash cam. Watching Yun Xiaokai turn and leave without hesitation, Yao's thin lips slowly curved upward, her eyes icy cold. She walked straight toward Yun Xiaokai's room on the 2nd floor. The door was locked. Yao took out a piece of wire from her space, fiddled with the keyhole for a little while, and with a click, the door opened. Yao pushed the door and entered. She rummaged everywhere and finally found what she was looking for in the drawer of the wardrobe. It was the property deed of Yun Xiaokai. She knew the property deed was at home because at the end of the previous life, when the apocalypse broke out, Yun Xiaokai was preparing to escape with these things and she happened to see it. Now, with only 5 days left before the apocalypse breaks out, she must hurry to gather money and stockpile supplies. Besides that supermarket, Yun Xiaokai also owns a 4S car dealership, 2 villas, 3 apartments and several luxury cars. The supermarket has already been emptied. To avoid arousing suspicion from Yun Xiaokai and the police, which would bring trouble upon herself, she plans to visit the 4S dealership in a few days. The top priority now is to quickly mortgage the several properties, convert them into cash and hoard supplies. Therefore, Yahyao quickly found several private loan center numbers from her phone and called them one by one. This was thanks to the previous life. After the apocalypse, hearing those gamblers idly discuss how to get loans online, otherwise, even with the property deed, she wouldn't know how to use it. Yahyao took out a voice changer from her space, and with the other party, respectively, set the agreed time with the location set at her home. Half an hour later, the first loan manager arrived. He was a bespectacled, refined young man. He saw that only Yahyao was home alone. His eyes behind the lenses swept around the room. Little girl, where's your is off busy with something. Let me talk with you. Yao was all smiles, wearing a completely innocent look. The other party's mouth twitched, having him talk with a kid. Is this for real? But when he saw Yao lay out the property deed, he immediately fell silent. As long as the deed is here, it's fine. A kid, after all. What do they understand? Just bluff a little and won't the money just flow into his pocket? He gave a light cough and asked with a smile, little girl, what did your dad tell you? Yao pointed at the property deed and gave a sweet smile. Daddy said, this house is to be used as collateral for $1 million. To be repaid in a week, as long as the money can arrive today. Everything else is negotiable. The man pretended to be tough, saying, $1 million is no small amount and you want it transferred immediately. Then the interest would have to be at least 50%. That means your dad must repay our company $2 million. Moreover, if it can't be repaid in a week, we will, according to the rules, take over this house. Actually, he had already estimated before coming that if this house were put on the market, it could sell for at least around $2.5 million. Anyway, no matter what, they were guaranteed to make a profit. Yao, you sneered inwardly. 1 weekend, you'd have to pay back an extra $1 million. This was simply a leech, but this had nothing to do with her. It's done. A week later, let them go collect the debt from the zombies. Yao played the pre-recorded audio. Upon hearing it, the other party immediately took out the contract, then sign it. Is stamping acceptable? Yao produced a stamp which was from Yun Shaokai's cabinet, and fortunately there was also a photocopy of an ID card. Small loan companies have high interest rates, but they don't have as many rules and regulations as banks. The other party immediately agreed. Originally, they wanted to take the ID photocopy, but Yao didn't allow it. So they only took a photo. After completing the procedures, they directly transferred the money to Yao, only asking one extra question. Why isn't the account under the name of the account holder, Yun Shaokai? Yao said, this is under my dad's control for capital turnover. It's not convenient to use our own account. The other party didn't say anything anymore. This account naturally belongs to that unlucky driver. But there's no need for the other party to know this. The several loan managers afterward, Yao pulled off the same trick with all of them. By the end of the day, several of Yun Shaokai's properties had been mortgaged, and Yao's card suddenly had over 8 million more. After leaving home, Yao headed straight toward another villa not far away. In her previous life, even after the apocalypse, this villa had remained unoccupied. Since that's the case, she would borrow it for a stay. It's located on a hillside on the outskirts of the city. The geographical location is still quite good, and this villa area isn't very densely populated. Many were bought for vacation use. Originally, she could have found a place with even fewer people, somewhere safer. But she had another important reason she had to stay here. She needed to wait here for someone. Wait for that big brother from her previous life who, just before she was dying, saved her from those devils, taught her all his skills, took her to kill zombies, protected her everywhere, and in the end, to help her escape from the zombie horde, was literally bitten to pieces by zombies. This life, he took over his protection. Yao contacted the renovation company asking them to add more manpower, working day and night, to finish within for days. Inside the villa, everything from the inside to the outside was fully reinforced. What she wanted was to smash the villa's surrounding wall and replace it entirely with the kind of granite used in air raid shelters. The wall had to be at least 2 meters high, and on the inner side of the wall, another layer of bulletproof glass was to be added. Electric fences were to be installed around the perimeter and on all rooftops, and surveillance cameras were to be installed around the house and on the roof. Whether the cost was high or low didn't matter. She only demanded speed. Early the next morning, Yao, using Yun Shaokai's name, rented an idle factory building at the foot of the villa's hill. Then she took a taxi straight to the largest wholesale market. It was divided into several areas. Yao was the first to head to the grain, oil, and non-staple food section. She did not go directly into the shops. Instead, she took down the phone numbers of each shop owner, found a hidden, unmanned corner, used a voice changer, and then called each shop owner one by one. 10 shops in total. Each ordered 500 bags of 50 kadi rice. Then, she used the same method to order 1,000 bags of flour and 1,000 packs of dried noodles, 200 units of each type of seasoning, and 200 units of each flavor of instant noodles and self-heating rice were also ordered, as for various flavors of ham sausages and pickled mustard tuber. She ordered a full 200 boxes of each with a strong sense of satisfaction. Yaoyao went to the livestock and aquatic products section, chickens, ducks, pigs, sheep and cattle, 500 mature ones of each, and 200 more of each specifically for breeding. All kinds of fish and shrimp, over 300 of each. Then she went to the seed section, seeds for various crops, fruits, and flowers, 100 bags of each. Of course, she didn't let go of the snack section either. After the apocalypse, factories would shut down and cease production. These delicious junk foods would become rarer with each one eaten then. So she had to stock up more. She didn't get to eat them in her previous life. So in this life, she had to eat her fill, having bought all the snacks. She didn't mind having too many clothes, either going to the clothing wholesale market, every season, every style, every age group. Buy them all once, thinking of Big Brother. She also browsed through the men's clothing section then. She went to buy shoes and daily chemical products. As for the large buckets of mineral water, she hoarded the most, no choice, they were cheap and space consuming. How could she not love them? After a day of shopping, Yaoyao had spent almost 1/4 of the money she had on her after leaving the wholesale market. Yaoyao went directly to an auto repair shop. She took out a blueprint she had drawn herself last night and handed it to the boss, wanting to modify the large off-road vehicle that Yun Shaokai had parked in the garage. After some discussion, Yaoyao left the address and car keys before returning back home. After dinner, Yaoyao lay down, started ordering supplies online from the sofa. 1 year after the apocalypse, humans had just begun to recover a bit from the terror of zombies. The extreme cold weather appeared again. Heavy snow continued. For 3 months, the entire world entered an ice age. Temperatures directly dropped to -70 or 80 degrees. The snow became colder and colder. The number of people frozen to death was countless. After the ice and snow melted, everyone thought they had survived, but then extreme heat weather appeared. Those who survived the extreme cold, many would innocently lose their lives in the extreme heat. Considering these, Yao ordered many cold-proof supplies online. In order to receive the goods as soon as possible, she chose all local shops and used expedited shipping. They should arrive by tomorrow afternoon at the latest. She also looked at generators online, but the power ratings were all relatively small. She wasn't very satisfied, so she thought of going to a physical store later to take a look. When the global power outage happens, all electrical equipment will be unusable as long as there are generators. Whether it's high temperature or extreme cold, just get a few more air conditioners and it'll be fine. The power is too small. She worried that they wouldn't last long before breaking. After placing the order, she started training. Now, her physical fitness is too poor. It must be strengthened. Recalling the method taught by her big brother in her previous life, Yaoyao gritted her teeth and practiced until 11 p.m., then took a bath, drank milk and slept. The next morning, she woke up very early, went to the factory. Today is the day to receive goods. But she didn't show up in person. Instead, she told the other party to just unload the goods and leave. She would pay the remaining balance by transferring it to them once the delivery people left. She stored all the supplies inside into her space, then waited for the next wave of people to come. It wasn't until after 5 p.m. that all the supplies were finally delivered, and now there are only 3 days left until the apocalypse breaks out. Aya didn't dare waste a single second. She directly took a taxi to the city center. Once the apocalypse arrives, many people will turn into man-eating monsters, neither dead nor truly alive, and their strength will be incredibly great. With her small frame, she wouldn't even be enough to fill their teeth. Of course, besides these terrifying zombies, humanity-eroded humans are also one of the huge dangers. Sometimes they are even more terrifying than zombies. This is something she had to guard against. Thinking about this, Yao walked into a tobacco and liquor store. The clerk was a guy with a buzz cut, legs crossed, playing a game. He glanced at Yao. "Kid, what do you want?" Yao looked up and pointed to the wall behind the counter, saying, "I want to buy the guns inside." As soon as the words fell, the buzz-cut guy immediately put down his phone and stared warily at Yao. "Kid, who are you, really?" Yao answered without changing her expression or heartbeat. "I'm not a kid, I'm already 20 years old, no helping it. This place isn't like others, where you can call to place an order." She had no choice but to lie like that. The buzz-cut man frowned suspiciously and said, "Are you 20 years old? Believe it or not, I only have one purpose coming here today: to buy real guns and bullets." She deliberately emphasized the word real. The buzz-cut man raised an eyebrow. Could that other person really be an adult, just suffering from dwarfism? Also, those who know he has real stock inside basically all come through referrals from acquaintances. His expression turned a bit more serious. "How much do you want?" 3 Ruger Mark II pistols, 3 P229 pistols, 5 vector submachine guns, 2 F-50 sniper rifles. Bullets, 10,000 rounds. For pistols, 10,000 rounds. For submachine guns, 3,000 rounds. For sniper rifles, all guns must be fitted with silencers. The pistols Yahyao chose were ones with relatively low recoil, mainly worried that her current body couldn't handle it. The submachine guns and sniper rifles were prepared for Big Brother. After Yahyao finished speaking, the buzzcut man narrowed his eyes. Little girl, what are you buying so many guns and ammunition for? That's none of your concern. Just make sure no one will know they were bought from you. Then pay 100,000 deposit first, okay? Yahyao wasn't worried the other would cheat her money. In her past life, Big Brother had said, this shop is very upright, never engages in swindling schemes. Seeing Yahyao act without the slightest hesitation. Direct transfer, the man frowned. I don't have stock on hand here. Tomorrow at 12 noon. Money on delivery, goods on delivery, the next day at noon. The other party fulfilled the agreement. Yahyao said nothing, directly transferred the money. Then pulled the small cart loaded with guns and ammunition and left. Only after walking to a deserted corner did she single-handedly wave, putting both the cart and the goods entirely into her space. Yahyao was about to leave when she noticed a cake shop across the street. Her gaze flickered slightly, then she lifted her foot and walked over. Little friend, do you want to buy cake? The young, pretty shop assistant smiled and looked at her. Yahyao also smiled sweetly. Pretty sister, I'd like to place an order for some cakes, of course. First, come choose a style. The other party handed over a booklet. On it were all kinds of cake designs. Yahyao pushed it back, shook her head. Pretty sister, you choose for me, from age 5 to age 80. The shop assistant's mouth opened in surprise. Little friend, are you joking? Who would order so many cakes at once? Besides, cake shelf life isn't that long. I'm serious, I can pay you in advance. Deposit first, but I require them to be finished within these 2 days. I'll come collect every other day. Yahyao's expression was very serious. All along, she has always been envious of others having their dad and mom accompany them to celebrate their birthday and then eat cake. Since others couldn't satisfy her, then she satisfied herself. The shop clerk was stunned for quite a while, only snapping out of it upon hearing the sound of the payment. This little one really wanted to do so much at once. Beautiful lady, I'm leaving first. I'll come pick up the first batch later. Yahyao waved her little hand and walked out of the shop door. She strolled along the street, walking while she noted down the locations of a few shops. Although she had already stocked up on most things, who would complain about having too much? And things like medicine and petroleum, which are strictly controlled by the state. She didn't manage to buy any of them. She knew that some black markets had goods, but she suffered from lacking connections and means. These would just have to wait. After the zombie virus outbreak, looting occurred, so while shopping, she paid special attention to the locations of pharmacies and gas stations. She also took advantage of this time to check out generators. She originally intended to buy 2, but after looking, the prices were quite high. High power, high efficiency ones cost 1 to 2 million, and cheaper ones ranged from 1 to 200,000. The really cheap ones surely wouldn't have a good lifespan. After some thought, she chose to rent instead, leasing a total of 5,000 kilowatt units and 3 1,000 kilowatt ones. The rental cost was less than 13,000, though she paid a 1-100,000 yuan deposit at 10 p.m. She went to the cake shop as agreed, still using her little cart, and took away the first batch of 25 cakes at 3 a.m. A small figure arrived in front of a 4S store. Learning from last time's lesson, this time Yahyao shot out all the cameras near the store with a silenced gun. Yahyao broken and the alarm immediately sounded. She didn't even blink, directly smashed the alarm and then, with lightning speed, destroyed all the surveillance inside the store, leaving not even a trace. Next, she at top speed collected all the vehicles in the store into her space, not even sparing the sofas, water dispensers, and potted plants. In less than 10 minutes, and the shop was already completely empty. Yahyao curled her lips in satisfaction, and before the police could arrive upon receiving the signal, she swaggered out on the other side. Yun Shaokai was woken up in the middle of the night, already in a bad mood. Upon hearing the content of the phone call, he was practically about to explode. What did you say? Say it again? Yun Shaokai couldn't believe it. The police patiently repeated it. Mr. Yun Shaokai, your 4S shop was just robbed by bandits and everything in the shop is gone. Could you come over now? Yun Shaokai slammed his phone onto the ground with a crash. The fury in his eyes was about to burst out. Just who has been secretly messing with him? Yun Shaokai drove straight to the shop. A police car with flashing lights was parked there, and 3 police officers were inside collecting evidence. Another police officer, seeing Yun Shaokai arrive, walked up and routinely asked, Mr. Yun, the 2 incidents at your property are clearly someone intentionally targeting you. Have you offended anyone recently? But this question seemed to touch a nerve in Yun Xiaokai. He immediately roared in uncontrollable rage. What the hell are you, police, even doing? It's been how many days since the supermarket case and there's still no progress, and this shop was clearly connected to your alarm system. Why could those thieves steal so easily? Take everything inside away. Why? The police officer furrowed his brows. Mr. Yun, please don't get worked up, we're certain. We set out immediately as soon as the alarm sounded, isn't this under investigation? We hope you can cooperate with us so that we can get to the bottom of this as soon as possible. Yun Xiaokai kicked the tire, venting the anger in his heart. The next day, Yao got up very early. After breakfast, she searched through the entire villa inside and out, making sure not even a single broken bowl was left behind before finally leaving. Before leaving, she glanced at the house next door. The renovation was already in its final stages, and everything should be completely finished before 7 in the evening. After heading out, she first went to the warehouse to collect the generator, then went into town. She planned to spend all the remaining money to properly enjoy this peaceful and beautiful time before the apocalypse. She ate tanghulu, cotton candy, luosifin, stinky tofu, fried potatoes, liangfin, cold noodles, babajb, and barbecue from street vendors. She also bought a lot of things she wasn't quite ready to eat yet. It's not suitable to eat now, but isn't it fine to eat later after waiting? After that, she went to the amusement park in the city center and played bumper cars, merry-go-round, and little trains, things she had never experienced in her previous life. Cheerful laughter filled every corner around her. With laughter and chatter, only she remained silent like a little old woman, because she knew that after tonight, the whole world would turn into a living hell with laughter no more, and only cries and screams remaining. It was too joyous here. And Yao couldn't quite stay any longer, leaving not long after joining in. She opened WeChat, used voice input to type a passage of text, then logged onto Weibo. And under the top 3 news posts on every trending search page, she copied and pasted it. If you see a blood moon tonight, then please prepare supplies and weapons, hide in a safe place with few people, and try to be alone because the apocalypse is about to arrive. And the person next to you may very well turn into a man-eating monster. She suddenly remembered that policewoman who had cared about her, so she specially sent a text message over. Even if they investigate, they would only trace it back to that unlucky driver with no suspicion falling on her. Besides, even if they wanted to investigate, they wouldn't have much chance anymore. She had done all she needed to do. As for whether they believed it or not, how many more people survived was not her concern. Yao could warn them, but only if it didn't threaten her own interests. If after the apocalypse, she were asked to risk her life to save others for no reason, then she was very sorry, but she might not be that kind-hearted. Yao wandered around a bit more, buying some things she found useful. At around 6 in the evening, she first went to the bakery to pick up the final batch of cakes, then headed to the auto repair shop to get her car. Yao looked up sweetly and softly, asking her brother, "Is the car ready?" The young man emerged from under the hood, lowered his head, and looked at the little one by his feet. "Little one, you're here. The car's ready. It's over there." Yao followed his gaze to look over. The previous large SUV had been completely transformed. A large V-shaped iron plow was added to the front, looking incredibly sharp, imposing, and powerful. The body was encircled by steel pipes sealing off all doors and windows, and large spikes were installed all around as you requested earlier. The entire body has been fitted with bulletproofing, and those spikes are retractable. They could even pierce and kill a bull. The vehicle's entry point is on the roof. There are 6 buttons on the front corresponding to 6 large steel pipes on the front, back, left, and right of the vehicle. Pressing 1 causes the corresponding large steel pipe to shoot out flames. After the young man finished explaining, he personally drove the car outside to demonstrate. However, because both the accelerator and brake pedals had been raised significantly, his feet were curled up, looking somewhat comical. Seeing the car directly knock over a large oil drum filled with stones, the 6 large steel pipes around the car. After the exhaust pipes spewed blazing flames, Yao's lips curled up at the corners. This was the super combat vehicle she wanted. She generously and directly transferred 1.2 million into the other party's account. "Little one, why does this modified car of yours look so much like it's built to go kill zombies?" The young man chuckled. He usually enjoyed watching zombie movies too, so when he saw the blueprints, he was even a bit eager to try, even adding some of his own ideas, refining it a great deal. Yao smiled, her words blurring the line between truth and jest, saying maybe tomorrow zombies will be everywhere. "So Yao knows about zombies too. That's kinda interesting," the young man teased. Yao pursed her lips and asked, "Can I go inside and take a look?" "Of course you can." So Yao climbed onto the roof of the vehicle via the external ladder, then entered the driver's seat. Inside, the seat had been raised a lot according to her requirements and sponge cushions had been added. She adjusted her sitting posture, tested the feel, and was very satisfied. She started the ignition, stepped on the accelerator, and the vehicle drove off. That young man, looking utterly shocked, slapped his thigh. She was driving it herself, so that's why there were such strange modification requests for the brake, accelerator, and seat. He anxiously shouted after her a couple of times, yelling loudly, "Little one, minors aren't allowed to drive," but Yahyao could no longer hear these words, and even if she had heard, she wouldn't have. "I don't care, it's the apocalypse already, who can be bothered with so much?" Yahyao was driving the car on the highway when her phone suddenly rang. Done, it was the renovation worker who called. She parked the car by the roadside and pressed the answer button. The other party said everything was all done, and also sent her several videos, including ones with the overall scene, changing the door password and the usage methods for various devices. Very detailed, easy to understand at a glance. Yahyao was very satisfied and immediately transferred the 800,000 the other party requested. She put down her phone, started the car, and drove towards the villa. The sunset was gradually setting, yet massive burning clouds dyed the sky a clear red, extremely magnificent, beautiful beyond compare. On the road, many people could still be seen stopping their cars to take photos of the sky as mementos, their faces radiant with bright smiles. Unbeknownst to them, this beauty was merely a fleeting illusion, a false appearance deceiving the world. When the brilliance fades away, the danger would surge forth like floodwaters that had broken through a dam, pouring down upon all of humanity. Thanks to the burning clouds, not many people noticed her particularly unusual car. As she passed by her own house, she saw the sports car parked at the entrance. Xiaokai had returned. Right in the previous life, he had also returned at this time because the next day he would once again take her to Zhongruan to get a divorce. They had likely discussed her fate. However, reality did not give her that chance. The next day, as soon as she opened the door, she was scared half to death by a half-faced zombie that lunged at her. After that, they had hidden in the villa ever since. Later, because they truly ran out of food, he pushed Yahyao out to block the zombies and escaped alone with his lover, Li Jiajia. Thinking of this, Yao's eyes darkened a few shades. She stepped on the accelerator and drove straight past. Meanwhile, young Xiaokai, who had entered the house, and his lover Li Jiajia stared at the completely empty room before them, utterly dumbfounded. Xiaokai, why is there nothing in your house?" Seeing Yun Xiaokai's face as dark as charcoal, Li Jiajia immediately swallowed the rest of her words, but the next moment, Yun Xiaokai actually struck his chest in fury and fainted from rage. Shortly after, an ambu. "The ambulance will be here soon." Not far away, Yahyao stood by the window, watching Yun Xiaokai being carried onto the stretcher, her lips curling up. A faint smile. Got so angry he ended up in the hospital. Not bad. There are quite a lot of zombies there. Enjoy yourself, my good father. After watching the ambulance leave, Yahyao first changed the password for the main gate, then checked the surveillance. Seeing that the house's surroundings had no blind spots, everything could be seen clearly. Only then did she sit contentedly at the dining table, taking out the evening meal from her space. While eating, she downloaded many cartoons, movies, TV series, and variety shows online. If she gets bored in the future, she can use them to pass the time. Although she might not need them, it's better to be prepared. What's wrong? Yahyao also turned on the TV, which was playing local news from S City. Major news. A super blood moon just appeared in the sky above our city. Immediately after, the TV screen shifted, showing the vast night sky where a round moon red as blood shone with an eerie light, illuminating the entire world. The moon looked larger than usual, carrying an indescribable, unexplainable sense of eerie oppression. According to ancient texts, the appearance of a super blood moon foretells the imminent arrival of a natural disaster. Recently, disasters have been occurring frequently all over the world. Could this be related? We have invited relevant experts to provide answers for us. The content that followed, Yahyao no longer listened to. She switched to other channels to watch. The reports were almost all related to the super blood moon. Many moon-watching enthusiasts even drove to places with wider views to admire this rare lunar spectacle. Yahyao gazed out the window at the high-hanging blood moon, her eyes gradually darkening. What was coming had ultimately arrived right on schedule at 4 in the morning. When people were deep in sweet dreams, the sky suddenly emitted a loud roar. At a street corner in the city center, parked was a flashy large off-road vehicle, and the little person in the driver's seat immediately opened their eyes. Yahyao had been waiting here for an hour, and what she was waiting for was this very sound, the apocalypse. Here we go, gotta stock up big time before zombies start running all over the streets. The great sweep officially begins. She heads straight for the pharmacies on the street. There are 6 in total on one street, and she completely clears out 3. After the apocalypse, the weather changes become more and more extreme, either bitter cold or scorching heat, although there's no cure once infected with the zombie virus. In the post-apocalyptic world, sometimes a small cold can gradually turn into a high fever without timely medication, eventually developing into pneumonia, leading to a regrettable death in her previous life. During that extreme cold weather, Yahyao almost died from a fever. It was only because her big brother risked danger to find fever-reducing medicine for her that she survived, so medicine is a must stock. After stocking up on medicine, Yahyao enters a century-old weapon shop, taking all the short knives, long spears, big axes, and so on inside. Next is the bookstore. Not a single book is left behind, all collected into her space. A medium-sized supermarket next door also has its glass shattered by Yahyao, and she conducts a complete $0 shopping spree. After clearing out several shops, Yahyao heads straight for the nearby gas station without any lingering attachment. Just then, a loud bang suddenly comes from ahead. She slightly frowns. The sound seems to be coming from the gas station. As she gets closer, she sees a middle-aged woman wearing a gas station uniform quickly running toward a large truck that has crashed into a gas station pillar and flipped onto its side. The woman quickly knock on the car window glass, call for someone to open it, pull the injured truck driver inside out to rescue, but just as they dragged halfway, the truck driver, who was hanging his head low, opened his mouth wide and bit down on the woman's neck. Yahyao had just pulled out her gun and didn't have time to fire before she heard the woman's shrill scream. She raised the gun, aimed at the head of the truck driver, who was frantically tearing at the woman. And with a bang, the truck driver, who had already turned into a zombie, fell to the ground. The woman, who had just been lifeless, now staggered to her feet unsteadily. She opened her bewildered eyes and looked around, suddenly facing the direction of Yao-Yao's car. She let out a hoarse cry and stumbled toward it. Yao-Yao's expression remained unchanged as she raised her hand and pulled the trigger, sending her on her way, perhaps because it was too late. There were no other staff on duty at the gas station besides the female clerk earlier. Yahyao drove the modified off-road combat vehicle next to the gas pump, parked, and then went to fetch a chair from nearby. She stepped onto the chair, inserted the gas nozzle into the fuel tank opening, and began refueling. Next, she took out 7 large fuel drums from her system's space and began hoarding fuel using the same method. While waiting for the drums to fill, she also took the opportunity to collect everything from the nearby convenience store. Even the flipped large truck, she did not let it go. She looked and saw that the truck was fully loaded with packages, layer upon layer, a huge pile. More than 10 minutes later, a sudden, urgent braking sound rang out as a gray pickup truck steadily stopped next to fuel pump number 1. Two tall and burly men got out of the vehicle. They had tattoos on their arms and looked troublesome. Big bro, did you see? Over there, there's also that thing, but it seems someone took it down. Never mind, let's fill up first. Yahyao chewed on her lollipop, leisurely watching the 2 men, perhaps because she was too small. Neither of them noticed her. Big bro, look. One of the men with a crew cut pointed excitedly at Yao's location. Someone has already filled it up for us, saving us the wasted time of doing it ourselves. As he spoke, he reached out to grab it. Suddenly, a child's voice full of amusement sounded, "Uncle, it's not very polite to touch other people's things without permission." The crew cut man's hands immediately froze. He looked up toward the source of the voice and saw a little girl around 5 years old looking at him with a faint, mocking smile. Seeing that it was only Yahyao, a child, they immediately relaxed. "Brat, get lost. Daring to interfere in our business, tired of living." The crew cut man for Yahyao to be scared, but it turns out Yahyao didn't seem to hear it at all. The buzz cut man frowned, wanting to curse a couple more words, but was stopped by the man with a knife scar at the corner of his eye beside him. "All right, let's focus on the business at hand." The 2 men placed their hands on the oil drum, preparing to lift it. Suddenly, bang, a gunshot rang out, and the 2 men only felt something swiftly fly past in front of them, followed by a crash. The front window glass of their pickup truck shattered into pieces. They looked in disbelief at Yahyao, who was smiling. She was holding a gun in her hand, her eyes and brows carrying a smile, showing a regretful expression. "Oh dear, what a pity. It missed." Then she raised her eyebrows, pretending to ask casually, "Want me to take another shot?" Although she was smiling, it made the 2 men feel a chill rising from the soles of their feet, shooting straight to the top of their heads. This kid is not to be trifled with. Extremely not to be trifled with. The 2 men simultaneously thought of this voice in their hearts, although they didn't want to admit they were scared by a 5-year-old child. But this was the fact. They had to admit it. "A little girl, we didn't mean to take your things on purpose. Don't get excited." The buzzcut man swallowed hard, afraid that Yahyao would fire a shot at his head. After all, there were 2 corpses lying over there, each with a gunshot wound right in the center of the forehead. "This is who did it? Even thinking with your toes would tell you we're leaving right now. Leaving immediately, absolutely not staying in your sight." As the 2 of them spoke, they were about to get in the car and flee. But the next second, Yao's devil-like voice sounded from behind them. Wait a moment, their movements halted and they slowly turned around. Afterward, the two of them unfortunately became Yao Yao's human tools, helping Yao Yao fill the oil, then neatly arranging the filled oil drums together. They even contributed their own oil drums while the two worked hard. Yao Yao lounged leisurely on a recliner eating potato chips, that comfortable appearance making the two feel both envious and furious. But when they saw that gun, they didn't dare have any temper at all. When the last drop of oil dripped into the drum, both of them breathed a sigh of relief. The buzzcut man said with a smile, "Little girl, all the oil is filled." Yao Yao checked it, confirmed there were no problems, then nodded at the two. "Then you can go." The two nearly cried with joy, but just as they were about to get in the car, that terrifying child's voice came from behind them again, "Leave the car." The two were instantly frightened. Immediately, the buzzcut man said with a pleading face, "Little girl, anyway you can't drive this car. Just leave it for us, at most we'll give you money." But Yao Yao slowly raised the pistol and aimed it at him. "I'll count to 3. Sound, if you don't leave now, I'll shoot." The two instantly changed their expressions dramatically. This little girl is too ruthless, isn't she? At the slightest disagreement, she's ready to fire a gun. Wasn't it just about moving the oil drum earlier? Is it necessary to drive us to the brink of extinction? As the two were inwardly complaining, Yao Yao had already started counting. The two immediately had alarm bells ringing in their heads, and they spread their feet and ran extremely fast, just like bare-assed monkeys being chased by 10,000 grass mud horses. Yao Yao didn't even get the chance to count to 2. Yao Yao rubbed her nose and said to herself, "Am I really that scary? Don't I look quite cute? When I looked in the mirror yesterday, I almost fell in love with myself." After that, Yao Yao went to the side of the 101st oil drum, waved her hand and collected them all into her space. She returned to the car. Step on the gas, the car instantly flew out. The essentials and oil have been almost all collected. Now she is going to the largest, the auto city, at the fastest speed, collected all the cars. Inside, the car had just driven not far from the gas station when suddenly two fashionably dressed fierce zombies charged out at the intersection. They pounced towards Yao Yao's car. Yao Yao didn't even bat an eye and drove straight into them. The auto mall is located on the outskirts of the city, covering a total area of 200,000 square meters. It has the most comprehensive range of vehicle types in the entire city and is also equipped with services like maintenance, repairs, and part sales. Yao Yao parked her car in front of the first shop, then got out, smashed the window to get in, and then, like a swarm of locusts, took everything she saw, leaving nothing behind wherever she passed. Then she used the same method to enter the next shop. The first few rows of the auto mall are all sedans, SUVs, and the like. Little car. Once we get to the back, there are some other vehicles, such as those for agricultural production like tractors, weeding vehicles, sowing machines, harvesters, and so on. Apart from these, there are also some engineering-type vehicles like excavators, bulldozers, forklifts, cranes, etc. Yao Yao collected them very happily and at a fast speed. In less than an hour and a half, the entire auto city was ransacked by her. After coming out of the auto city, Yao Yao turned around and went to the open-air parking lot across the street. When she passed by earlier, she had already noticed that there were quite a few big vehicles parked inside. After spending over 10 minutes sweeping through the parking lot, Yao Yao then targeted the industrial park next door. This park covers 10,000 acres and is F-City's largest logistics transfer station. Almost all logistics companies have rented factory spaces here. As soon as Yao Yao drove to the entrance of the park, she saw the gate open and inside, a large truck had crashed directly into the guardhouse. At the entrance, Yao Yao raised an eyebrow, knowing in her heart that something must have happened in this park. The logistics industry operates with shifts day and night, working permanently, so the number of people inside is probably not small. Once one person mutates, it would be a disastrous calamity for the others. Yao Yao's gaze turned deep. After only a second of thought, she took out a speaker from her space and turned on the Bluetooth function on her phone. Then, the music was turned on. Immediately, loud music came out from the speakers the moment the music started playing. The car also drove into the compound. Before long, zombies came chasing after, blocking the way ahead. A male zombie wearing employee uniform ran quickly towards the car. A hint of unusual excitement rose in Yao Yao's eyes. She not only didn't slow down, but slammed on the accelerator. Soon, 3 more ferocious-faced zombies appeared in front of the car. A wicked smile hung on Yao Yao's lips as she pressed 2 buttons on the front of the car. Instantly, a surge of fierce fire gushed out from the 2 large steel pipes in front. In an instant, the 3 zombies were enveloped in the scalding great fire, and before long, they were burned to ashes. The music continued to play, sexy and stylish. The car was followed by a long string of zombies gnashing their teeth and rushing madly. Any zombies in front of the car would be ruthlessly run over by Yao. Meanwhile, inside a factory building, 3 employees dressed in work uniforms were hiding in a cramped changing room. Trembling, a man in his 40s lowered his voice and said, "Did you hear that? It sounds like there's music outside. And the sound of a car." Another man wiped his mouth and said, "Who cares about music or cars? It's probably just another reckless person driving in. Just wait, they'll probably be done for soon." The remaining female employee couldn't help but sob softly. What on earth is going on? How did perfectly normal people suddenly turn into man-eating monsters? Why are we so unlucky? My child is still at home, waiting for me. When will we ever be able to get out? The man in his 40s said. "Don't worry, I already called the police just now. The police should come rescue us soon, just wait a little longer." "But it's been so long, why haven't they come yet? Why don't you make another call and hurry them up?" The man quickly dialed 110. But all that came from the other end was a busy signal. He tried again several times, but it was still the same. His face gradually turned pale. Seeing her companion's changed expression, the woman hurriedly asked, "What's wrong? Why do you have that expression? Did they say when they would come?" "They're not coming," the man mumbled, talking to himself, his voice trembling as if he had suffered a major blow. The woman anxiously grabbed his sleeve. "What do you mean, who won't come? We're completely doomed now." The other man stared in horror at the news on his phone, which was full of videos of zombies biting people. Some were filmed from high-rises in residential areas, where people who had just finished the night shift returned to the complex and were chased and bitten by security guards turned into zombies. In no time, they were bitten beyond recognition, their screams audible throughout the entire complex. Others were shot by the roadside, where two people were arguing when one of them suddenly dropped, lowered its head, waited until it lifted its head again, and then suddenly pounced onto another person's body, biting the other's face like crazy. Fang's face was suddenly a bloody mess, too gruesome to behold. There are even those taken in the hospital. The entire hospital lobby is everywhere. Those fleeing for their lives and the manic, biting zombies. Some zombies even had for drips hanging or bandages wrapped around their faces. Yet, in the video footage, they showed no sign of sickness at all. Instead, they were exceptionally ferocious, biting anyone they saw. Watching the various videos on their phones, listening to the screams coming from them, the 3 turned deathly pale, feeling as if even breathing had become difficult. The world had completely descended into chaos. Suddenly, they heard a faint sound coming from outside the door, and the 3 immediately held their breath, fearing it might be zombies. But before long, the sound outside disappeared. The 3 stared at each other quietly. He quietly opened the door a crack. Then, the 3 of them stood frozen in shock. What was going on? Why were all the goods in the entire warehouse gone? Could it be that not only were there man-eating monsters, but there were also ghosts that could vanish things in a second? Their eyes filled with terror, they hurriedly shut the door tight, not daring to make another sound, and Yao, whom the 3 regarded as a ghost, was now moving like a fish in water, darting between various warehouses, sweeping away all sorts of goods like a bandit. He had lured all the zombies in the complex to a large, empty lot at the very back of the area, placing a speaker on the wall. Using a drone, these low-level, ordinary zombies mostly relied on sound to determine direction, so they all crowded over there, which made it convenient for him to frantically gather supplies. He not only collected the goods from the warehouses, but also took the large freight trucks, trailers, and the like used for transporting goods. In some of the trucks, the drivers inside the cabs had turned into zombies. He shot a disgusted glance at the zombie driver, pulled out his pistol, aimed at its forehead. After dragging it out of the vehicle, he finally got his wish and stored the truck in his space. Just as he had cleared out the entire complex and was about to leave, he unexpectedly encountered trouble. Several survivors, seeing no zombies around, ran out from their hiding places, but to their surprise, however, they inadvertently disturbed the zombies who were listening to music over there. Compared to music, zombies naturally prefer fresh flesh and blood. Instantly, a horde of over 100 zombies formed, chasing several people as they frantically ran, watching the 2 survivors running toward her. Along with dozens of zombies, Yao nearly cursed out loud. The distance was too close, and with others watching, there was no way she could take the vehicle out. She quickly ran into a workshop not far away, and just as she was about to close the door, a man and a woman forcefully pushed it open and barged in. They didn't even care about Yao, who was knocked to the ground upon entry, and immediately hurried to tightly shut the main door. The moment it closed, countless pounding sounds instantly erupted from outside, and the person secured the door lock. Only then did they both collapse to the ground together. Gasping for breath heavily, both looked quite young, probably around 24 or 25. Both wearing work uniforms printed with the word logistics. After catching their breath, they finally noticed Yao nearby. How could There be a child in the factory, the man frowned, looking sternly at Yahyao and warned, little girl, don't you dare cry. Understand, if you draw the zombies over, I'll beat you to death. The woman, on the other hand, glanced at Yahyao warily. Surrounded by an aura of disgust, she detested children the most. Useless things that only knew how to cry and hold people back. Utterly useless, Brother Liang, there are zombies everywhere outside. What should we do now? The woman asked. What else can we do? We can only wait for the zombies to leave. Then figure out a way to escape, the man replied. But those monsters appear at the slightest movement and they're so fast, it's very likely we'll be spotted the moment we step out of the warehouse door. As the woman spoke, she happened to catch sight of Yahyao standing at the doorway. Her eyes suddenly lit up, a flash of calculation flickering within. She nudged the man with her elbow, gesturing with her eyes toward Yaoyao's direction. The man instantly understood, nodding toward the woman. The woman immediately curled the corner of her lips into a smile. Forcing a fake smile, walked towards Yahyao. Little sister, how are you alone? Where are your parents? Yahyao replied. Head, looking at the woman with a fake smile, curved the corners of her lips and said, they, all died, auntie. Your fake smile looks exactly the same as theirs before they died. Also ugly. The woman was stunned upon hearing this, cursing inwardly. Cursing her to death is one thing, but saying her smile is ugly too. Kids really are annoying. If it weren't for the fact that she still needed this little girl later, she would have torn her mouth apart. The woman took a deep breath to suppress the urge to beat Yahyao up, and said, later, you'll go out with us. We'll protect you. Yahyao tugged at the corner of her lips. Protect her, the other party. That expression that wanted to tear her apart didn't look at all like wanting to protect her. She pretended to be naive and said, okay. More than 10 minutes later, it was completely quiet outside. The man crouched down by the door to check the situation outside. Good, they're all gone. The man stood up and opened the warehouse door a crack. He handed a phone to Yahyao. Take this. After you go out, turn left. Go to the warehouse next door. There are lots of delicious candies and dolls there. You walk ahead. We'll protect you from behind. The man added, in his mind, children are so easy to coax. They just like candy and toys. They're simply stupid as hell. He had already set an alarm on the phone. As long as this little girl takes the phone to the next warehouse, the alarm will ring when those zombies pounce on this little girl. That will be their best chance to seize the opportunity and escape. He was proud of his own cleverness. Yahyao took the phone and smiled sweetly, seeing Yahyao actually agree. The two exchanged a glance. Children are just so easy to fool. They smugly watched Yahyao walk out. As soon as Yahyao went out, they hurriedly locked the door. After a while, they heard the sound of the alarm ringing. The two showed triumphant smiles of their scheme's success, hurriedly opened the door and quickly ran outside.